Greetings, greetings, greetings to all. Greetings to all black, white, night, day, woman, man, masculine, feminine, electricity, magnetism, and all those things that are involved in nature. Now, what do I mean? Let me see if I can lower you a little bit. All right. I think that would be good enough for me right now. So why did I name those things from nature? First of all, those things are married in nature. You cannot separate them. You cannot have one without the other. You can't have night without day. You cannot have masculine without feminine. It just don't work in nature. You cannot have electricity without magnetism. You cannot have magnetism without electricity. So, in saying that, my topic today is both for the masculine and the feminine. And this is from I left off from my last video, where I first spoke about alopecia, and now this is the other part, to give you things that are good for alopecia and everything else. And since we are the paradigm shift, we are shifting to a new paradigm, because nothing is the same anymore. And we're going to keep it that way, in a good way. So what are these things right here that herbalists, the modern day herbalists, have as answers? Liver and kidney detox with my mash it up. All right. So, by far, by extra far, past far, everything starts with my superstructure water. What do you mean? More than likely, I'm going to have to make two parts of this video. This, you see that spark? That spark comes from a crystal, a crystalline substance. And that crystalline substance is called flint. Now in nature, once you scratch a crystal, it gives off energy. And that energy is called piezoelectric energy. So this is a solid crystal. What does that have to do with water? Water is a liquid crystal, so you cannot treat it the same way like you would treat the solid crystal. Nevertheless, it have energy. The negative charge oxygen, the 2 positive charge hydrogen, put them together in nature and you have water. They're also married. Now what do you mean? The same piezoelectricity that's in the solid crystal is also into the liquid crystal. And now we have a battery to charge you up. The only other phase of water that is more powerful than H2O is H3O2. This is what this is. So as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what does that mean? Strongest. Second strongest, orange cap. Third strongest, red cap. Fourth strongest, blue cap. Fifth strongest, white cap. I might even have to make 3 parts of this series, because just the water alone is something that is going to be good to take care of things. So let's start off with the water. Everything starts with my water. As you can see, I have 5 different types of water, and all of them have their own benefits. So it starts off with the white cap, which is hydration, detoxification, energizing, pain, power, energy. Then it goes to the blue cap water. So the blue cap is above the white cap, which means the blue cap have all of the properties of the white cap, but now the blue cap have something extra, which is good for stress, anxiety, depression, radiation, free radicals, reactive oxidative species, and so on. After that, now we have the blue cap and we have the red cap. So that means the red cap have all of the effects of the blue cap, but they have something extra. So what the blue cap don't have that the red cap have is the red cap goes into the redox. Look up these terms. Yes, I can spit this from my head, but look up these terms. So redox basically is saying that we have the gap junction and we have the tight junction. Gap junction, for all that don't know, is more of your stomach lining. The leaky gut and all of those things. The tight junction is basically like your nerves or your cells being interconnected. And they speak to each other and they work with each other. They tell each other to create apoptosis, which is the programming of the cell to die. And whenever the cell programs itself to die, then it calls up a stem cell to replace that cell. Now we go into the orange cap, which is the second most strongest. That is superstructure water, ozone. So it still have the properties of all of the three that came before it, but it have something extra, which is the ozone gas, but structured. That generally is good for the allergies, the sinuses, the pneumonia, the bronchitis, the black mold, the fungus, all of those pathogens. Yes, this is just the water. I didn't even start on the other things yet. But again, everything starts with my water. Now, my most powerful water. You use this by the drops or by the spray. By the way, if you have a headache, 1 drop, 1 spray, rub it in. 5 minutes or less, your headache is gone. Pain in your body, same thing. Sulfaton. Now, what is so special about these waters? The water is structured, which means it's organized, which means you have a North Pole and a South Pole, which means you have a negative and a positive. These things in nature that your body replicate, and that happens in nature. What does that mean? I've developed my own process, and my process is called supercharging. Now that process involves movement, natural superconductors. If you know about superconductors, it travels at the speed of light and it energizes. Just like whenever your cells are using the biophoton, and yes, biophotons are in my water. That's what makes my water different. Bio, life. Photons, light. Living light. We get the biophotons from the sun. The plants take the biophotons and convert it into carbohydrates, chlorophyll, different composition in the plant. We take the plant, eat the plant, and now we get the biophotons transferred to us. That's one way. Another way, we get the biophotons from the sun, the cholesterol sulfate, that UVA, UVB, I was talking about, UVC. Well, this is the UVA, the biophotons. So we take the biophotons, and because of the cholesterol sulfate, that biophotons go inside and now gets converted to vitamin D3. And it converts to your body to start improving your body and change your body. It's kind of like the same effect where you take your shoes off, you put them on the ground, and you get the negative ions from the earth because your blood is negatively charged. That's the reason why it's alkaline. So they're all related. They're all interrelated. Know it might sound a little confusing, but do your best to wrap your mind around this. I'm definitely going to have to make like 3 or 4 parts of this because I don't even think I have enough time. So I'm trying to give you the short of the long on my base, which is my water. So when I say I develop a process called supercharging, that means anything that the water comes in contact with, it charges, it makes stronger, it makes amplified, it makes more potent, including your body. So water can be programmed. Water is alive. Water is conscious. Water have memory. The list goes on and on and on. Yes, water. So what does this have to do with anything? When you have structure, by the way, everything is structured in nature. If you ever heard of the golden mean or the Fibonacci sequence, and yes, I am talking about science, chemistry, quantum physics, biology, and the list goes on. Because when they told you in science class that you might not be able to use this, they lied to you. This is what I use to develop these things, my own water. That's just the water alone. So what does that mean? That means if you were off balance, it brings you back in balance. That means if you were low energy, it brings your energy back to right where it's supposed to be continuously for the whole day and continue for tomorrow for as long as it lasts in your body. By the way, all I did was replicate what the body is doing. So anything that the body takes in, say for instance, my detox with my mash it up, which is good for everything, by the way. And by the way, I don't touch it if it's not a super. I'm gonna say that again. It's not gonna come from my hands and go to anywhere else, and it's not gonna get in my hands if it's not a super. So what I'm saying now is this. The water is structured, it's organized. It has a north pole and a south pole by way of magnetism. It also have electrons, which is electricity. Remember, magnetism and electricity is married in nature. I developed a process that made that possible. So anything you take in, your body will separate the water from the contents, and it will structure the water inside of your body. It will organize the water inside of your body. Your body have water channels, and if the water is not organized, then it cannot go in one molecule at a time, because that's the way water acts in your body. Water is also a glue in your body when the oxygen is separated from the hydrogen. So for anybody that knows, the process of oxidation is basically you putting a nail out there in nature and the nail rusts. It breaks down. It's corrosive. That's the process of oxidation. Hydrogen, on the other hand, grabs on and escort, takes away. So when you drink structured or superstructured water, the oxygen breaks things down And then the hydrogen grabs it, either bring it where it needs to go or bring it and escort it out the body. Yes, water. I know I'm gonna have to do about four parts to this. Aye. Okay. So what does that mean when it comes to alopecia, when it comes to my health? What about if you're drinking a water product? Water product? Water. So even though the water that you're drinking might look like that, it usually has some chemicals in it. The tap water, for instance, have about 2,000 or better chemicals in it. We're just going to leave it at that. The waters that you get out there, the chemicals that they do add to it, after they quote-unquote filter it, you have the calcium chloride, you have the sodium bicarbonate, you also have the sodium chloride that they add to the water. And by the water being in a plastic container, depending on what plastic it is, it's usually a petroleum-based product, which means you take heat and you put on this plastic, and you have the bisphenol A that leaches off into the water, that leaches off into your body, and start unbalancing your hormones. So what does that mean? That simply means that if you're a female, by the bisphenol A coming inside of your body, now it throws off your estrogen and gives you more testosterone. If you're a male, it throws off your testosterone and builds up your estrogen. That's what that means. But because the water is, this is a part that I didn't say about my water. Not only is it organized by being structured, not only does it have an extra hydrogen ion, an extra oxygen ion, basically put electricity, more electricity. But it was put through a magnetic field, so now the water is also magnetic. The negative, the positive, the North Pole, the South Pole, yes. Yes, I'm still talking about the water. I didn't get to nothing else. Yes. So that means the water is adaptive. What do I mean adaptive? That means if your stomach is all big and your problem was gas, the water is going to adapt to you and start breaking up the gas and start releasing the gas. So people don't understand how things work. They have gas trapped inside of them. And when they start drinking the water start breaking up the gas, and before you know it, they start burping, they start farting. The water is breaking up the gas to release it out your system because of indigestion. Again, digestion is breaking something down from a solid to a liquid. When that process cannot happen, then your body start fermenting. The process of fermentation builds up gas. If you're not using things to break up or release these gas, they stay inside of you and build up. And the gas can travel all over your body and start causing pain, discomfort, and so on. So when you think you have a big stomach, that stomach could be filled with gas, could be filled with feces, and many other things. Could be fat, there's one more that usually make you feel bloated or look like it's bloated. And that one is slipping my mind right now, but it will come to me. So nevertheless, these are the things that happen in your body when your body is not working the correct way it's supposed to work. The water is adaptive, so it adapts to your situation and start taking care of your issues that is unique to you. For somebody else, it adapts to them and start taking care of what is good for them. So that's the water, the long of the short. By the way, I could go on for days about my water, and I will go on for days about my water. I will be giving you the herbalist experience with the water. Like for instance, this one, very good for people on dialysis. Kick your kidney back into, your kidneys back into life, because it have the life force energy all of my water do, which will allow you to now start replenishing and regenerating to become new again. By the way, your body regenerates itself. Your eyes regenerates it, your eye cells regenerates itself every 2 days. Skin cells regenerate themselves about every 2 weeks. Kidneys and liver is about 6 weeks. Bones, about 8 months. The list goes on and on. Your body regenerates. But your body cannot regenerate if you don't create the right condition in order for your body to regenerate. So that's the long of the short with the water, because everything starts with my water. So my water is better than alkaline water because it's structured. It's replicating the same process that your body does, and it's replicating the same process that nature does. So one way I can put it is, whenever you see water falls from the sky as rain, and now it falls down on the ground, now you start to see the plants growing like crazy. That water is structured from nature, naturally. That also involves lightning, tornadoes, typhoons, hurricanes. The list goes on, because all of these things happen in your body on a microscopic scale, on a micro and a macro scale. Yes, we're just talking about the water. We didn't even go to anything else yet. So I think we can move on to something else. So the something else that I need to move on to is the noni. This is noni fermentin. This is noni fermented, which means it still have the probiotics inside of it. Each of these herbs, or these fruits, or these supers, I will have to do a separate video on each and every individual one of them, because they're all supers. So because I'm doing my best to make this short, I will have to do a separate video on each and every single individual one of them. Coming to a YouTube channel near you. So, noni is one of them. And I'm going to do my best to keep this short. Noni is a super. Noni have an adaptogenic property, and noni have nutraceutical properties. But noni is also naturally alkaline. That's one. Yes, to help you to grow your hair back. But the hair loss is an overall side effect of what's really going on inside of here. And this is a strong